Hello, my name is Logan, and today I'm going to show all of you how to install Pokemon Infinite Fusion 5.2.1 onto your PC. Now, before we get into it, any of this information I'm about to show you may change, or some of the verbiage may change, or some links may die. Please leave a comment down below if you need any help with any part of this process. Be as specific as possible, or I recommend going to the Infinite Fusion Discord and asking for help there. This video will go over many different topics, so please skip to the topic that is most relative to you. The first thing I'm going to show all of you is what you're going to need before downloading the game. Next, I'm going to show all of you how to download and install the preloaded version of the game. Then after that, I will show you the dynamic version. Then if you have an older version of the game and you just need the patch, that will also be a part of this video. I will be going over the custom sprite pack and how to install that. That is something that happens every month, and sometimes there's problems when installing it, so I will go over that. And finally, some tips and tricks to get the best experience out of Pokemon Infinite Fusion. So the first thing you want to do before downloading Pokemon Infinite Fusion is get an extractor. The extractor that is built into Windows is not good enough to handle all the sprites that is included in the preloaded version or the sprite pack. It freezes and can possibly corrupt the process. So you want to get either WinRAR or 7-zip. Both of these are free, so please, if some part of it is asking for money, either ignore it or you click the wrong thing. In this video, I will be going over WinRAR. That is what I have personally, and that is what I am most familiar with. But I do know 7-zip works just as well. So in order to get the preloaded version, you want to go to the Discord. A lot of websites that has links to download the game are becoming broken, or they just don't have the game or the right version. So I highly recommend going to the Discord, joining it, and downloading the game from there. You can see that I'm in the download section, and there is only one link, and it is the MediaFire link. We will click this. And here is where you download the game. You can see there are a few files here. You got the patch, the dynamic, and the preloaded. We are getting the preloaded version. So you just click it. And here, we just click here. And this will begin to download. Now that the game has fully downloaded, I'm going to go to my desktop and create a new folder. We'll just call this PokeIF, I guess. All right, now that we have that, what I'm going to do is right click this, and I do have WinRAR installed. And if you skipped the first part and you're here, you want to make sure you have WinRAR or 7-zip when you're doing this. So we got WinRAR. Okay, so here it's telling me to buy WinRAR. You don't do that. You just click this little X here. Nope, not today. So without clicking anything in this window, what we're going to do is just hit extract to. And we're going to go to our desktop. And we're doing, which one was it? PokeIF. So we're extracting into that folder. I'm going to hit OK. Now this part may take a while. For you, if it does take a while, please let your computer deal with it. Don't be messing with your computer. Don't be doing anything with it. Let it do its thing, because there are hundreds of thousands of images that it is trying to extract. And if you mess with that, there's a chance that corruption could happen, missing files, who knows? There's so many problems, and you got to let your computer just do its thing. So I would just go make a sandwich, get a Capri Sun, something, go go step on some grass? I don't know, but it does take a while. So I'll see ya in a bit. Okay, so that took 12 minutes for me to extract everything. So we're going to close this stuff here and we're going to see if it works. Now this part may take a while too, depending on how good your computer is. Now I say that just because it's a lot easier to say. There's a lot of factors that comes to this game related to your computer. Your computer could be a beast and still struggle with this game. This game is not optimized. All right, so it looks like we're working here. Let's see if we can get into the game. Yep, we're at the right version here. Yep, everything is looking good. I highly recommend checking out the tips and tricks section of this video if you are having any problems with installation. Thank you. This part of the video will go over the process of downloading and installing the dynamic version of Pokemon Infinite Fusion. You will need to join the Discord because the other websites like PokeCommunity, their links are dead or the information is wrong. And this area, this Discord, has the most up-to-date links. So I'm in the download section, and under Mirror 1 is what we want to click. From here, you can see that we have 3 different files to choose from. You only need to download the dynamic version. And then we're going to hit download, which it's already doing. So we're going to wait for that to download. In the meanwhile, we're going to go to our desktop and I'm going to create a new folder. And we'll just call this PokeIF. We'll see if it is finished. It's getting there. Now, before I show all of you how to extract the dynamic version, I just wanted to go over some things about it. The dynamic version does not include any fusion sprites whatsoever. If you are to randomize the game, but only using custom sprites, you will not be able to play the game because you will need to download those first. And then the game checks how many custom sprites you have and will base what Pokemon you see in the game off of those sprites. So if you want to play the game right off the bat, randomizing it and only seeing custom sprites, you will want to get the preloaded version, or you can download the dynamic version and then download the sprite pack. And from there, everything will be good to go. And in this video, I will show you how to download the sprite pack and extract that into the right folder. I highly recommend just getting the preloaded version. It does take some more time. It has a larger footprint, has hundreds of thousands of images already included in the file, but the dynamic version is a lot smaller. And for those that may not have such a hefty computer or limited in space, this might be the way to go. But I would say 90% of the time, you are going to want to get the preloaded version. So here we are, we're going to extract this. Now, if you didn't watch the first part of the video, you will need something to extract the game. I highly recommend getting WinRAR or 7-zip. I am using WinRAR. Now, this file doesn't have nearly as many files as the preloaded, so you may get away with just whatever Windows has. But I would say for the most part, you're going to want WinRAR or 7-zip in the future. So we're going to right click, open with, and hit WinRAR. And I've created a folder on the desktop here called PokeIF. Here it's asking if we want to purchase WinRAR. You do not purchase this. It is free. Without clicking anything in here, we're going to hit extract to, desktop, and then PokeIF. Now this doesn't take too long, and this is the one of the few benefits of having the dynamic version. It takes about 11 to 12 minutes for me to extract the preloaded version because, like I said, there's over 200,000 images and it takes some time. But here it's going to take a fraction of the time. All right, the extraction has been completed. We can close these out. Go into the game file. And here we go. This is what you want to click to start the game. Now, one other thing, I just thought of it. The other reason why you want the preloaded version is that there is something called the alternate launcher inside of it. And that alternate launcher is for computers that may struggle with this game. It does make the game take quite a bit longer to load up initially, but it allows weaker computers to play the game a little bit better. Loading times are decreased quite a bit. The dynamic version does not have this. The reason is that this has nothing inside of it, basically. And the alternate launcher loads all those things that the dynamic version does not have preemptively, so that the computer has already done quite a bit of the loading. There is not nearly as much stuff in here, so the use of the alternate launcher is not needed. It just, there's nothing to load. But now if we do put, the hundreds of thousands of custom sprites or whatever, how many there are out there into the dynamic version, you're probably going to want that alternate launcher if you have a weaker computer. So again, I highly recommend just getting the preloaded version. There honestly really isn't a reason to get the dynamic version. But I'm going to show you guys. We just double click that. All right, so that took maybe like 40 seconds, something like that, for me to load up. If you were to use the alternate launcher with the preloaded version, it takes over 5 minutes to load, and you cannot do anything with your computer during that time. Okay, and we can see that it works. This part of the video will go over the process of downloading a patch and applying it to your game. Now, you only want a patch if you have an older version of the game. So you want to be part of the Discord. You want to go to the download section, and then here under Mirror 1, we click that, which I already have up here, but we'll let it load. And here you can see Infinite Fusion 5.2.1 patch. These two are the same version as the patch. You will not need the patch if you already have 5.2.1. If you have an older version of the game, theoretically, you only need the patch. But if you have version 5.0 point whatever, or even like 4.9, you might as well just download the full game again. The patch will more than likely not work and will cause a lot of problems. So we're going to download the patch. All right, now that the patch has been downloaded, I am going to use WinRAR to extract it. And in the very beginning of this video, I go over the software you need to download and install the game. Now for the patch, you probably don't need WinRAR or 7-zip. The zip file, there isn't too many files in there, so Windows probably can handle it by itself. But just for good measure, and for the future, because there are other games that will need WinRAR, I highly recommend getting one of those too. So I'm going to use WinRAR. And here we can see it looks like the game. I've got a version of the game here. So this is just the extraction of the game. I haven't created any extra folders. I created a folder on the desktop and I extracted the game into that folder. And to apply a patch, I opened the zip with WinRAR and I'm going to hit extract to. And what we want to do is find this folder, which is on my desktop and right here. And we're just going to hit OK. And the reason why we're doing that is to replace all the files inside that folder. So if this window pops up where it's asking if you want to replace items, that means you did it right. If you extract the patch into your game folder and it never asks if you want to replace any of the files, you did something wrong. So here we're going to hit yes to all. And you don't have to worry about your save or anything like that. You're not going to mess it up. Your save file is kept somewhere else on your computer that is not part of this folder. And while this is patching, you do not want to touch your computer. You want to let it do its thing and just wait until it has completed. After that is completed, your game has now been updated. There's nothing else you need to do. You can go ahead and play the game and you should be on the most up-to-date version. Now, what I've seen lately is that the game doesn't recognize you're on the newest version. There's something now that it can connect to the internet and tell if it's on the newest version of the game or not. And I believe when you patch this way, it will always say you're not on the latest patch, which is untrue. When you first start the game up and it lists the patch version, it should be the most up-to-date patch. But for whatever reason, whatever they're using cannot tell that is the most up-to-date version. So if everything before this went exactly the same way I did it, you're good. You got the most up-to-date version. Ignore that window. All right, so I'm going to go over how to download and install the monthly Sprite pack. This is something you probably want to know since every month they include new custom sprites. The game can download these custom sprites automatically if you have the dynamic version or if you go into the options menu inside the game and turn on download sprites. But here, if you want to just download it manually, because I do recommend doing it this way, when the game has been set to download sprites automatically, a lot of computers sort of struggle with that option and the load times between maps or battles increases. So I recommend turning download sprites off and just downloading the Sprite pack. Here, I'm going to show the full Sprite pack because I will also want to try to catch some errors that I can show all of you. In the future, you just need the monthly Sprite pack. So for this video, April is the most current one, and then the new one will be 90 and it'll be called May. So I've already downloaded this. If you click on it, you just hit download and then it'll say it cannot scan for viruses, but you would just click download again. All right, here is my downloaded file, the zip file. If you do not have WinRAR or 7-zip, I highly recommend downloading it. Windows struggles extracting large zip files. If there are thousands of images that is included in these zip files, Windows, for whatever reason, struggles, may crash, or even corrupt your files. So I highly recommend getting WinRAR or 7-zip, and I do go over that in the beginning of this video. I will be showing how to use WinRAR for this process. So right-clicking the full Sprite pack, we're going to do open with WinRAR. Now this also means you have already downloaded the game and you're trying to add custom sprites to it. Or if you've downloaded the dynamic version and you're trying to add some custom sprites to it. Here it's saying that you should buy WinRAR. You never have to buy WinRAR. You just click the little X here and everything's good to go. So here is what we need to address. So if we were to extract this right now, it will create a folder in the destination we want this to go to, and that will cause some problems. So what we need to do is double click this folder here and then go into custom battlers. This is where all the images are at, and it's taken a while, as you can tell. So we'll let it sit here for a second as it tries to think. Okay, so that did take a second, but we're at the right spot now. So what we're gonna do, this isn't necessary for the steps, but I'm gonna show you. So this is my game folder, PokeIF. In the graphics folder, and then if we go down here to custom battlers, this is what the destination looks like. We're putting these images into this folder. Now on the Discord, it talks about dragging these and dropping them into this. That can cause some problems. Okay, I do not recommend that. I recommend just simply extracting these files into this destination. It is very simple, and as far as I'm aware, it doesn't cause any problems. So what we're going to do is hit extract to. We're going to go look into this folder. So it's on our desktop. And then we go to PokeIF. We go to graphics. And then we just have to click custom battlers. This will extract the images that we want into this folder, because there should only be images in the custom battlers folder. You do not want to extract a folder into here, which would have happened if we did not dig through the zip file. So here I'm going to hit OK. Now this part will take a while, and please let your computer deal with it. Do not be messing with it. Do not be doing anything else. Let your computer think. Let your computer get through this. I believe it can take, 10 minutes. It could take an hour. Who knows? Just, it depends on your computer, but let it do its thing. There are so many images it has to deal with that there's so many chances that it could be corrupted. All right, it is finished extracting, and you can see here now in the custom battlers folder, we've got some images in here. I think it was like 66,000 images. So this is the next step. We're going to go back because we're trying to get back to our game. So here, when you double click the game, it will take some time to load. This is a necessary part of the process. It will move all those files into the right folders. Depending on how capable your computer is, this part may mess up. It may error up, but it slowly moves the files into the right spot. So you may have to open and close the game several times until it has finally moved all the files into the folder system. Okay, so that took like 2.5 to maybe 3 minutes for the game to load. That was pretty excessive, but I believe that will only happen the first time. So we're going to get into the game. So this is the important part. So the reason why it was taking so long, because it was importing the images. So now it's giving me a message. While importing custom sprites, the game has detected that 7 new custom sprites already have versions that exist in the game. The reason it's saying this is because when the splash screen first shows up and the Pokemon are fusing, it is downloading those custom sprites and putting them in folders. I'm using the dynamic version right here to show this process. So I never had any of those files to begin with, but when I first started the game, it started downloading those files. So this part is normal, I would say, but if you are putting these custom sprites into a pre-existing game, this message will pop up, and you want to replace all the old sprites with the new ones. So here we go, confirmation. Almost 67,000 custom sprites were imported. And again, if your computer struggles, this part may crash. but it is going to slowly import those files every time you open up the game. You'll notice that this message will lessen every single time you play the game, and it will finish eventually. So there you have it. We downloaded, or we installed all the sprites, but there is still one more thing we need to look at. So I'm going to close the game. We're going to go back into the graphics folder and look into the custom battlers folder, because there's always things that sort of stick around. So I'm going to get this a little bigger just so we can see how many files there are. Actually, we'll make this a little larger here. All right. So a lot of people wonder, hey, why are all these files? I thought they were going to be imported. And there's a reason. And I don't know why they do this, because it just causes confusion. And there are some explanations, but these files were in the custom battlers section of the custom sprite pack we downloaded. So you would think it would just be fusions or whatever that would be in the custom battlers folder, but they have included sprites that are not part of the custom battlers folder. In fact, it's actually the battlers folder. It's a little different. The game processes that a little different, so I'll go over it. So what it is, if a sprite has a single Pokemon, so Meowth here, 52, that means it's a base sprite, a non-fused Pokemon. Now, for custom sprites, custom fusions, they will add an A or like a B or a C for alternate versions of those fusions, which you can kind of see down here. So this guy is a mixture of, I'm guessing, Torterra and Wailord. So that's what these two numbers are. And he has an A. So that means he's an alternate sprite of that fusion. And the game knows how to deal with that, but only the fusions. If it is a base sprite, a single Pokemon, this A doesn't mean anything. What you have to do is replace it completely. You cannot change the base sprite of a single Pokemon in the Pokédex. You can only do that with fusions. So I'll show you guys. Let's say I wanted this Meowth. All I would do is right click it. I would do cut. We'd go back into the graphics folder, go into battlers, go to 52. And here he is. We don't want that one though. So we're going to right click in the space, hit paste. All I'm going to do is click on him and delete him. He's out of there. Now we're going to rename this. And we're going to delete the A, because that A should not be there. So now when I play the game, Meowth will look like this. But we're going to go back to the graphics folder, because there's still some errors and some things. So that's what these are. This is totally optional. This is stuff that you get to decide on. All right. So now the next step. There's some other problems. So this guy here, this is what? Metagross mixed with Bellsprout. Now the problem here is the game only likes PNGs. It does not like JPEGs. So I don't know what happened there. I believe we can just rename it. Now for some people, they will not see the extension of the file. And that may be a problem. Now, I don't know how to turn it on in the computer settings. I believe it has something to do with view or some sort of options that you need to go through, but you want to turn it on where you can see the extension. Because all you got to do is right click this, rename it, and rename it to a PNG. Now it's warning you because the computer is going to recognize this file as a PNG now. And if you're forcing a file into a different type of file, it can cause problems. But I believe this is how you fix it. So we're going to say, yes, I want to change it. So now this is a PNG. So the next thing. So this here, I don't know why these are even kept in the game or in this file and they don't fix it. Again, the game does not recognize this parentheses. It has to look clean like this or have an A or a B. So like to fix this one, we right click it, rename it, and we're simply going to delete this here. So that should be good. That should be good. Same thing with Pikachu here. I'm guessing that's mixed with Gengar. We're going to delete the parentheses in that one. We only want the 2 Pokemon numbers and possibly a letter here. So that's what I would do with this guy too. And what I'm going to do is see if there's, oh yeah. So this guy's a GIF or a GIF. The game doesn't recognize that as far as I'm aware. The game doesn't know how to deal with these. Yeah, it's just a funny little GIF. I don't think the game knows how to deal with these. I may be wrong. You know, the game may recognize GIFs, but it definitely doesn't recognize JPEGs. I don't know what to do with this, to be honest. I would just ignore it. I think there might be a GIF section of the graphics section here, but personally, this is just, I think, somebody animating a sprite. So I would ignore that. These are the same fixes. This one here is new. Again, I don't even know how this happens, but what it is this thing's capitalized. You don't want that. You just want lowercase. And let me make sure here. I'm gonna click the properties of this guy. I'm still getting used to Windows 11. Where's the properties? Why am I being? Oh, here. Okay, it's lowercase now, so we're good. It cannot be capitalized. This one here. Oh yeah, that's a base sprite, so we're good. Another base sprite. Same problem, another GIF. All these, you want to delete the parentheses. Seeing if there's anything else here. Yeah, these are all just, yeah, all the same issue for whatever reason. So I'm going to load the game up again, and hopefully it takes the fusion monsters that we fixed. So what we'll do is go back. Oh, we want to go back this way. Load the game up again. Okay, so it's saying again that we have some pre-existing custom sprites. So we want to replace. And then see, it said we imported 4 new custom sprites. So what we'll do is close this, go into the graphics folder, and go into custom battlers. So we can see the ones that we fixed are gone. But that is how you install and download the custom battlers. And when you come back and download the new month, the new batch of custom sprites, always go and look in here and see if there's some things you need to fix. Almost every month, there are some files that need to be fixed. So always look into that. Always remember to look into that. I am going to delete these because I don't really care. Just to clean it up. Normally, I would go back and rename these. You know, you want them included, but delete the rest. And that is how you download and install custom sprites. All right, so this is the tips and tricks part for downloading and installing the game. I will try to show some images that are relative, but for the most part, I'm just going to be ranting. So one of the #1 problems that a lot of people face is they'll say, when I start the game up, it is just a black screen and it talks about changing my controls. What's going on? Nothing happens. That 99.9% of the time, the reason why that happens is that you downloaded the patch version of the game and tried playing it without having the full game. So you're trying to play a patch. And the game doesn't know what to do. So you need to delete whatever you downloaded and install or download and install one of the full versions of the game. Another problem that a lot of people face is that they say, when I go into my party menu, when I am fusing, when I'm going between maps, my game is taking forever to load. Now, for the most part, it means your computer is struggling with the game. It means the specs your computer has is just struggling. But there are other things, and I will go over them. But there are 3 main things you can do to make the game a little bit faster. #1, the #1 way you can make it better is having the preloaded version. The preloaded version will not use the internet, and it has the alternate launcher, which will help with load times. I do not recommend getting the dynamic version, but when the game updates, it will always update the dynamic version, and the preloaded version comes a lot later. So a lot of people will just play the dynamic version. So if you do have the dynamic version of the game, you will not have the alternate launcher. So what you need to do is go into your options menu and switch to DNA icons in the options menu. And that should help a little bit. And then you can also turn off download sprites in the same menu. However, if you are using the dynamic version of the game, this sort of defeats the purpose of the dynamic version, unless you downloaded the custom sprites ahead of time and installed them into the dynamic version. Then I recommend turning off download sprites. Those two things should help with load times, but I've seen more success with the preloaded version and using the alternate launcher that is included. If your game has green stripes going across it, I will have a link in the description that you need to go to solve that issue. Another common problem that happens to quite a bit of people is that there's an error that pops up and it talks about an image file not being recognized or not being supported, something like that. The incorrect image file extension, something like that. If you get an error and it has something related to one of the sprites, one of the Pokemon sprites, you may need to look at your folder. Sometimes the images for the game gets corrupted, but usually there's a reason why. And one of the main reasons is that you tied your folder to OneDrive. If OneDrive is backing up your Pokemon Infinite Fusion folder, that's no good. There are hundreds of thousands of files if you got the preloaded version, and if you have the dynamic version, it is constantly downloading new sprites. And then those sprites are being backed up. And I have seen people have problems if OneDrive is actively backing up your folder. So you need to turn that off if you are having issues, error messages that pop up that talk about an image not being supported or corrupted or whatever it says. Another problem that a lot of people have is that an error message will pop up right when you start the game. Now, I don't really know what the name of it is, but generally it's before you even get to see any of your saved games. It's right when the green loading screen pops up. If you get an error message that pops up during that time, more than likely your save files are corrupted and you're going to have to basically delete your save files. And I will show you where that's at. So if you go here into your game folder, you will see there is this shortcut folder that will direct you to your save files. This is not a folder. This is a shortcut to a folder. So when you double click this, you'll notice up here it will change. So this is going into a different set of folders that is kept separate. So here is your save files. So you would need to delete these. The reason why save files get corrupted, I honestly don't know. A lot of times somebody could be doing something in the middle of the save and the game crashes in the middle of the save and then it gets corrupted. Or your hard drive is full, because this hard drive, my hard drive here, is kept separately from the desktop. So the save file's kept somewhere else. And if that save file's hard drive is full and is trying to save data, it can corrupt. And last but not least, the last trick is use the Discord for any issues you may have. You need to go and ask your questions in the tech support section of the Discord, which I will show here. So down here, we can see tech support. I would go in here and ask for help. Right here, we even have someone who has a problem that is very common. Black screen, has the key bindings, and even right here, the first answer is that's not the game, that's the patch. So please, if you have any problems, you can ask them in the comments below. I will answer them. But if you do, just know that it's a lot harder for us to communicate. So if you have a problem, be very specific with your issue. Don't say, like, for instance, if you're having this problem, you say, I start the game and can't play it. You know, that's not really helpful. I don't know what that means. You know, for this problem, you would say, when I start the game and it begins to load up, just a black screen, and it shows key bindings and it lists the version number, but it doesn't go beyond that screen. That is very helpful because I know exactly how to solve that. So please be detailed if you are going to ask any questions. The more detail you have, the easier it is for me to help. Otherwise, it's just me and you going back and forth, asking questions, you telling me answers, and possibly never fixing the issue. So that honestly is the number one tip and trick, is going to the Discord and asking your questions in the tech support section. If you found this video at all helpful, please like the video. It really gives us that motivation to keep making these videos for all of you, though I do know a couple of you have requested this. So I'm happy that I get to make this for you. Again, any problems, any concerns, or if you just want to say good job, please leave a comment. I will respond in some way. And lastly, if you want to keep seeing more of our content, please consider subscribing. That helps us the most, and it shows that there are people out there that want to keep watching these videos. And as always, I'll see you on the next adventure. Bye-bye.